All right, now, so now we're ready to move into, all of that was phase one. Now we're gonna move into phase two, and in phase two this week, we're going to introduce writing the letter A. Boys and girls, sitting up straight and tall, eyes this way. Now we're gonna talk about writing the letter A. Prior to writing these letters, you might wanna do some exercises. You could do exercise with bulletin board paper out in your hallway, and you could draw clouds at the top. I just did it with some just regular blank paper today, and then have them draw the ground at the bottom. And boys, girls, take your raindrops from the cloud all the way to the ground. You'll have several students that are just doing this, and you want to point out your raindrops didn't go all the way to the ground. So that kind of helps them get the concept of bringing a letter from the top line all the way down to the bottom line. And you will be amazed at how well your students' handwriting will look by the end of the year. All right, so we're going to go ahead now. You will have access to the writing beat song, the fast one and the slow one. I would like to play the fast one for you first because actually it's more entertaining. But we're going to start with the slow beat of the writing beat song, and this is what it sounds like. But it's good at their level, at their skill development. All right, boys and girls, listen up. It's the writing beat, the writing beat. Everybody listen to the writing beat. We can write all the letters from A to Z, 'cause writing letters is as fun as can be. The letter A. Pencil on the top line, angle down. Pencil on the top line, angle down. Cross it on the midline. The lowercase a. Put your pencil just below the midline. Go up to the midline, curve it down to the bottom. Go up for a circle and give it a stick. Let's go through B. The letter B. Pencil on the top line, straight line down. Pencil on the top line, out and in, out and in. The lowercase b. Pencil on the top line, straight line down. Up and around. Alright, so you get the idea. So that's your letters. The letter C. And like I said, put your pencil just below the top line. The fast version is much more engaging and entertaining, but this is right at their level of development. So they're going to watch you model it. Everything is explicit instruction with the sunny little corner, so it's always I do, we do, and then you do during their independent application time. All right, so I introduced that today. My boys and girls really enjoyed it. Now we're ready to go into phase 3, the final phase that I'm going to show you today. So you're singing a little song to bring all your students to the carpet, and again, the song that I use is Little by Little. Little by little, day by day, little by little in every way. School is changing me, since I walked into the school. Well, I've been learning every rule. School is changing me, All right, so they're all on the carpet. They're sitting crisscross applesauce, and we're going to go over our letter cards. Now, you can tell the boys and girls, oh, boys and girls, these letters are so silly. You know what they do? When you're not here, these letters are jumping all around the room, dancing all around the room. Well, I came in the other morning, and they were running down the hallway. And I said, little letters, get back in that classroom. Well, they ran in here, and guess what? Some of them, they just jumped in so fast that every now and then we might find that a letter jumped in here upside down, and it is so funny. They're so silly. So with just telling that little story, now you've got your students all engaged. They're all looking, and they're like, this is really fun. What's happening? So we're going to say A. So they're just going to repeat after you right now, and then you'll come, just flip a couple of them upside down. You are going to go through the entire alphabet, just naming the letters at this point. Oh my goodness, look at that letter. And it's so interesting because even though they can't yet recognize that letter, some of them, they'll be able to tell that it is upside down. So it's really fun. So they'll laugh, and that silly letter, F, what letter F, and they repeat it back and forth. So you're going to go through all your cards that way. Again, the whole premise of the Sunny Little Corner is that the letters come to life. They have personalities, they have fun, they go to parties, because that's what all the songs are about. So after you go over your letters, then on, you want to after you go over your letter cards, so that's 3 alphabet charts that you might want to have in your room. You want to have one up, perhaps, for just doing your phonics instruction, one alphabet chart up for your word wall, and another one that you're going to cut apart without the pictures just to have for instruction for carpet time. So you want to introduce your puppet. You want to introduce your letter with using a puppet. If you don't have a puppet, there's some really neat lakeshore tubs that you can order, or anything that you want to use to get some student engagement and excitement about the letter. So, you know, just tell a story. I was driving to school this morning and I heard something about my back seat, and it was saying and I had to pull over the side of the road, boys and girls. Whatever you want to do to pique their interest. Call up students' names. Call up the students whose name maybe perhaps start with that letter. So you've gone over it with a puppet, and you've told your story with some A words. Then you ask the boys and girls, we're going to do some comprehension. Boys and girls, and so the chart is blank to start with, right? And you show them how to write your letter, again using the same terminology as in the writing beat song, with pencil on the top one, angle down. And then you're going to ask them to remember some things from your story that your puppet told. So maybe they remember that the puppet talked about an apple or an ant or an alligator. So you're going to write the words, and this is very important. Whenever you're writing anything in your classroom on a chart, and you're going to be writing on it every day, you are either sounding it out or naming those letters. So for instance, ant. Boys and girls, we remembered that the little puppet was talking about ant. Sound this out with me, boys and girls. Ant. What word? Ant. But if it's something long like astronaut, I'm going to use this for letter naming fluency. But you're never writing on your chart without verbalizing something to your students. That's what keeps them engaged. So as I'm writing this, I'm like A, and they're saying A, S, T, and they're repeating that letter after me. So we've gone over all these letters again, not to mention all the times we've already been through them. So again, you're always sounding out a word or using it as letter naming fluency practice. All right, so after you go over this, that's Mondays. Now on Tuesdays, I have this set of books, and you can use any set that you would like to, but this is a wonderful set that I've used for years, and I would recommend it. You can find this on Amazon. It's my A book, my B book, my C book. It's a whole series. It's First Steps to Reading, but any type of book that talks about each letter would be fine. This is just a set that I've chosen to use throughout the years. So on Monday, I use my puppet. On Tuesday, you'll use a book. And you're going to read through it, and you're going to set it up so the boys and girls are really listening, because you're going to tell them at the end of the story, I'm going to ask who can remember any of the pictures out of the story. And then you add those. Again, that's Tuesday. So Monday, you've just done half the chart, maybe 3 or 4 words. And then on Tuesday, you fill out the rest of the chart. You give them picture clues, because later on this chart will be put in a center, and they get to play teacher with it or practice reading from it. So you always put your picture clues. And we're going to say apple, ant, alligator as we go through the chart as a review. Just be cautious when you're using these books, because for instance, they have put a picture of an airplane and arrows, but if you're talking about teaching the sound of those letters, and right now we're just teaching the sound of a. So for instance, arrows is in here, and it had a student say, arrows, I remembered arrows in that story. And I said, you know what, you're exactly right. Arrows, the word arrows does start with the letter A, but it does, listen to that sound, arrows, does that sound like A? So let's don't add it to our chart just yet. We'll talk about that later. So that's how you would address that. And then also, I should have pulled that one, the A card on here. So whatever letter you're covering, you want to pull it out and set it up here for discussion. So one last thing, after this phase, the next thing you go into is independent application of skills. And so you will need, for each letter of the alphabet, you will need a color sheet, a handwriting sheet, and a color cut and glue phonics page. That's just the way the Sunny Little Corner classroom is set up. So maybe when they come in the morning, this is one that I've used before. Anything like, this is just an example. All right, so you want to have a color sheet for Monday, Tuesday, for one letter, and then, for instance, this would be an example of a handwriting sheet. So you're going to have two handwriting sheets. You want to have one that's very supportive. Again, we're always scaffolding that support. One that's very supportive, like this, and one that gives a little bit more independency with practicing. I always tell the boys and girls, we're taking our training wheels off. We're going to see if you can write these letters without your training wheels. So, and if your students still are at this level and they really need this, feel free to keep using this. On this page, we call it a crayon day, because if they trace over this with pencil, you will not be able to see it very clearly. And plus, just the feel of the crayon on paper is really good for beginning writing. So this would be a crayon day. When we get here, this is a pencil day. All right? And then you will have a color cut and glue, and all of that is developing those fine motor skills, and it gives them an opportunity to independently apply the skills you have just taught. So again, one is for Monday, one is for Tuesday. Then, for instance, A on Monday and Tuesday, and then the letter B on Wednesday and Thursday, and Friday is a review. So perhaps if you didn't get to one of these pages, you could pick that back up on Friday. So I hope that helps. That is week 4 of the Sunny Little Corner. I can't wait. I know your students are going to love the writing bee. I know they're going to love hearing the green light letter song, and I know they're just going to love hearing you talk about going to the Sunny Little Corner, as well as getting to read the read aloud. So good luck, teachers. Have